皆さんこんにちは。RIZIN実況アナウンサーの鈴木芳彦です。このデプスインタビューではRIZINに出場するファイターや関係者と私鈴木芳彦が1対1でインタビューを行いまして、対象者の内側をより深く探っていくという番組になります。今回のゲストはですね、4月29日土曜日に代々木第一体育館で開催されますRIZINランドマーク5でスダリオ選手と対戦するグアム出身ロッキー・マルティネス選手です。ロッキー・マルティネス選手は一体どんな人物なのか、これまでどんなストーリーを歩んできたファイターなのか、インタビューを通してロッキー・マルティネス選手を深く探っていきたいと思います。RIZINマッチメーカーのチャーリー柏木さんにロッキー・マルティネス選手が参戦することになった訳や経緯などについてお話を伺いたいと思います。よろしくお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いします。
柏木さん、
はい。
なぜ再びまたRIZINにですね、
はい、
ロッキー・マルティネス選手が参戦することになった経緯を教えていただきたい。
響きを回す中心的な日本人選手が現れたことによって、はい、そこから徐々に階級を育てていこうっていう感じがあるんですが、
なるほど、はい、
外国人選手たち、ヘビー級って本当に世界でも難しい、新しい選手を取るのが難しい階級になってきてですね、もういろんな団体がもう取り合ってるんですよね。ですので本当にヘビー級いいポテンシャルある選手はそれこそ1回パフォーマンスを見ていいパフォーマンスしたらもうすぐ大きいとこ行っちゃうとか、そういう流れには、前回それこそスダリオ選手に勝ったジュニア選手が言ったのも、今そういう流れになっていることなんですけど、本当に回転が速い階級になってきてですね、無名の選手を連れてきて一発で終わらせるというよりかはそのヘビー級にスポットライトを当てるということで日本の皆さんRIZINファンの皆さんが知っている相手とスダリオ選手があったらどうなるんだろうかっていう部分の期待感も込めてロッキー選手になったという形ですね。
なるほど、スダリオ選手がやっぱり日本人ヘビー級選手が中心になっていくという形になるんですかね、これから先は。
まだまだキャリア若いですから、今の日本人の選手もしくはもう世界中のヘビー級に持ってないものをスダリオ選手は持っていると思ってますので、っていうのも若さと、まだ怪我のない体ですね、そこが本当に宝だと思ってますので、しばらくはスダリオ選手中心で待っていってもいいんじゃないかなと思いますね。
なるほど。そしてロッキー・マルティネス選手ですけれども、今後もRIZINに継続参戦する可能性というのはどうですか。
そうですね、可能性は大いにあるんじゃないですかね。キャラも立ってますし、試合も面白いですから、見せる試合をするような選手ですので、需要はあるんじゃないかなと思います。
ここで柏木さんが知るロッキー・マルティネス選手の意外な一面教えていただきます。
意外な一面、やっぱり一生懸命働きますね。すごい今もファイターの他に、当然保険屋さんの仕事もやっていて、サイドプロジェクトでいくつかやってるみたいなんですけど、非常に真面目な方です。
ロッキー・マルティネス選手に今後期待する、ファイトスタイルも含めて、柏木さんが期待するものって何ですか。
ヘビー級の豪快さを引き続き見せていただきたいなと思います。
はい、わかりました。ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
Mr. Rocky, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
ではまずですね、ロッキー・マルティネス選手、格闘技を何歳で何をきっかけに、まず何から始めましたか、教えてください。
All right, so basically I grew up in junior high and high school. I wrestled throughout those years. And then I also, one of my very good friends is, he was a boxer growing up and all of his brothers box. And, they're a Mexican family, so I was around that a lot. And after I graduated high school, me and a few friends, we joined with AMC at the time. This is in Washington State under Matt Hume. He's a very familiar name in Japan as well. I got into high school MMA right after high school with him, and I've stuck with it since. I believe I was 18 or 19 around that time.Since I got into strict full-on MMA.
中学高校とレスリングをしていたということなんですけれども、レスリングを始めたきっかけっていうのは何だったんですか。なぜレスリングを始めようと思ったんでしょう。
It was my main sport growing up was actually football, American football, and it was always highly recommended that if you played football, the coaches pushed you to wrestle. It wasn't a passion of mine wrestling. I just did it for the sake of helping football out, and basically that's why I did it. I never had too much of a passion for wrestling. It's just kind of one of those things that we did growing up, playing multiple sports.
Oh, so you're wrestling and football, playing football.
Yeah, and I also actually did track and field as well as a 3-sport athlete growing up.
アメフトを助ける、アメフトの能力を上げるためにレスリングをやったということですね。そこからなぜレスリングに変わっていくんでしょう。レスリングの方にシフトしていくんでしょうか。
Yeah, for me, it was a secondary thing. My main love growing up was always American football. That was where my passion was and what I focused on the most. Wrestling was definitely secondary to that.
これ MMA のジムに入っていって、でそこから MMA ファイターになろうと思ったのはどうしてだったんですか。
I don't know. My friends just kind of talked me into it, and I said, hey, you know what? Let me join a gym to, kind of keep in shape. I actually didn't join the gym I had no vision of actually competing. I just did it because I wanted to train with my friends and kind of get in shape. And before you knew it, they started dropping out of these MMA classes, and I was the one that stuck with it. And Matt Hume was asking me, hey, did you want to try an amateur fight? And at the time it was actually, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, it was actually considered a Pride amateur event. This was out in Washington State. We even used Pride gloves and stuff like that. And yeah, that's where I actually started fighting. I said, you know what, let me just try it out just to, say I competed in MMA. I had no intention of continuing, but man, I fell in love with my first fight and stuck with it since then. And I believe that was 2005, and I've been doing it since.
そのアマチュア大会っていうのは2005年に出た大会ですけれども、成績はどうだったんですか。
I didn't do good. I lost the decision. It was a close fight, but yeah, it didn't go my way. But I still fell in love with. I just loved the thought, or the fact that we could hit each other, and I just enjoyed it so much, and I just kept on since.
なるほど。じゃあもうその瞬間からもうプロっていうのも意識あったんですかね。
Yes, I felt that, I felt like it was something I could do, and if I focused on it, I felt like I'd do, a pretty good, be pretty good at it. So yeah, I had visions of becoming a pro fighter at some point in my career after I started.
ちなみにごめんなさい、アマチュアって何戦何勝何敗か覚えてますか。
Yeah, I actually started out. I actually felt 0-3, like competition-wise. I did a lot of amateur tournaments, but record-wise, I started 0-3, and then I won one amateur fight before going pro. So I was 1-3 amateur actually, and all 3 losses were decision losses. Kind of close fights, but yeah, it wasn't a good amateur start.
ちなみに幼少期ってロッキー・マルティネス選手はどんなお子さんだったんでしょうか。
So I actually had, I did have a part of my life growing up where I was surrounded by, I had, it's weird because I grew up in such different, I started out, I lived in Guam growing up, and then I eventually moved to Washington State. And a big reason why I moved to Washington State was because I started getting into trouble here on Guam growing up. Just that's how it was around the area I grew up. And when I went to Washington State, I started to get, I started getting better in school, getting better grades, staying out of trouble. And then as I got closer to graduation out of high school, I kind of got into a small phase again of hanging out with the wrong crowd again. And that's where I actually think MMA kind of saved me after high school, is when I started MMA. I kind of got back on track again, back to being, I believe I'm a good-hearted person. And MMA helped me find that about myself again and got me out of trouble again. So I kind of had these different phases growing up, which is, interesting. And a lot of people don't know that about me. A lot of my fans don't know that about me. But I had a pretty interesting childhood from these good points and bad points. So it was just very back and forth growing up.
何歳でグアムからワシントンに行ったんですか。
I was 12. I believe I was 12. Back in 1999.
でそれ引っ越す理由っていうのはというかご家族と一緒に引っ越したんですか。ご自身だけ移動したんですか。
So my mom actually, she joined the military. She had she got discharged from the military during training, a medical discharge, but she ended up wanting to stay in Washington State and bring me out. I believe she was looking for me to have a better education out there and kind of get away from, the troubles I was having while I was growing up here in Guam.
ご家族の 構成はどういうふうになってますかね。
I actually grew up mostly with my mom. My dad was out of the picture at an early age, and so yeah, I grew up a lot with my mom, and I had a stepdad throughout some of that time, but most of the time it was just me and my mom. So she was a single parent, but she did a really good job of trying to guide me the right way and raise me.
Any siblings?
I have half siblings through my real dad, but I didn't really, wasn't in touch with them very much at all.
お母さん軍で働いていらっしゃったということだったんですけれども、あれグアムにロッキー・マルティネス選手がいるときっていうのは別々に暮らしてたんですかね。
I lived with my grandparents.
お母さんと離れて暮らすようになったのは何歳ぐらいの時ですか。
It wasn't that. It was just a few months while she was in basic training. When she got out of basic training and got situated, I had flown out to Washington State to meet her.
で、また格闘家とは別にですね、今お仕事は何をされていらっしゃいますか。
Yes, so I got a lot on my plate right now. I actually do some insurance work as a risk surveyor. I also am in the process of opening my gym. I actually just opened pretty recently, and I've been doing a lot of work with that. And so yeah, I do that, and I also I'm part owner of another. It's a small promotion out here on Guam. We're trying to actually build it up, but yeah, I'm also doing that as well. So I got a pretty busy schedule when it comes to what I do for work and stuff like that.
Hey, what is risk surveying?
So basically what I'll do is we do some commercial building inspections just to see the overall risk of the insurance, and I also do a lot of homeowners insurances to see how much the house should be insured for, whether it's a good risk condition as well, stuff like that.
なるほど。保険会社で働いているということなんですけれども、なぜこの仕事を選んだんでしょうか。
A lot of it's because the insurance company that I work for, a lot of family has worked there, and also I have an uncle who's one of the big bosses there. So I actually started there at a pretty young age just to kind of accompany fighting as well, because of course, at the entry level fight pay wasn't enough to get by. So yeah, I needed a job, but I've stuck with it since then. I've actually tried resigning, but they don't want to let me go. So they've been pretty accommodating with work schedule. So I'm very able to focus on training while doing a lot of more on the remote work type side of stuff. So yeah, it really works out pretty well to where I'm not overworked on that side while still being able to focus on, my training. So, and all the benefits are good as well.
じゃあ試合をするときはもっと有給でやってるということですね。有給休暇を取って試合をしているということですか。
Yeah, I'm usually on paid leave with them.
ジムの名前、もともと AMC に入られたということなんですけれども、ご自身の今所属先がスパイク22ですかね。ジム名が AMC とはまた違うんですけれども、こちらはどういったジム、いつこちらに移ったとかそういうことなんでしょうか。それともまた何か理由があるんでしょうか。
So after I was going to school for a couple years at college in Washington State, and I actually didn't plan to move back to Guam. I just wanted to do a semester of school out here at University of Guam, and I just kind of stayed. I never went back to Washington State, and at the time, I would come back as well and train at Spike 22 when I would visit. So when I eventually moved here, it was a permanent move to Spike 22.
なるほど。じゃあ大学は卒業はされたんですか。
No, I didn't complete college. I went to school for a little over 2 years, and then I decided I was going to put school on hold and focus completely on fighting. And I just never went back, so I didn't complete college.
趣味ってあるんですか。何か息抜きはどうして過ごしているんでしょうか。
I would say the last year or so, it's been I've been so busy with all these other things that kind of my moment. I would say that I haven't had too many hobbies lately. Then I also forgot to add that I do have one other business that I do as well with I do distributing sporting equipment to a lot of schools out here as well. So I go out and bid on those. So it's I just do a lot, and it's hard for me to find time to work on hobbies. If anything, I guess MMA training is my biggest hobby. I enjoy it. I love training. So yeah, I guess you could say MMA is kind of like my hobby.
ご自身どういうタイプのファイターだと思ってますか？ご自身のこと。
I feel like I'm fairly well-rounded, but I feel like I'm one of those fighters that just likes to go in there and fight. I maybe I like to look for those exciting brawl type of fights, and at the end of the day, I've just come to terms that I just love to fight. I'm not really too interested in the technical aspect of it and a lot of that stuff, and I love just going in there as just thinking it as a good old fist fight, and that's just what I kind of pride myself on now, and I just want to be an exciting fighter.
さあロッキー・マルティネス選手ですね、2020年2月以来のRIZIN参戦ということになるんですけれども、日本で試合が決まって、どんなお気持ちですか？
I guess excited would be an understatement. I've been looking forward to it for a while, especially with my whole UFC run that I had. I just always felt I just didn't feel like I was in the right place in the UFC. I was somewhat happy about it, but it just didn't feel too good, especially fighting in the whole Apex with no crowd and stuff like that. I love fighting in front of crowds, and to me, the Japanese fans are the best in the world, and so I'm very excited to come and fight back in RIZIN, especially with the superior rule set to me. In RIZIN, you can't play safe, and especially with soccer kicks and knees to the grounded opponent. I love that. It allows you to be, I guess you could say, violent in every single way in a fight, which is what a fight should be. And I really look forward to being able to do that again.
UFC という話が出ましたけれども、UFC での経験というのはご自身にとってはどうだったんでしょうか？
I don't know. I feel, especially with my last fight, I felt very, I don't know, it was very, the judging to me is one of their biggest problems. I'm pretty sure anybody who watched that last fight in the UFC was surprised with the decision. I mean, the guy had to go to the hospital from the Apex, and I was perfectly fine, and somehow he still managed to win, and it was disappointing for me, but my takeaways from that is that I still worked on getting better, and I felt like there were a lot of things I can do better after that fight, and that's kind of what I did. I worked on a lot of things, and I feel more dangerous now, so I used that negative, the horrible decision that I got, and of course they released me after that, and I used that to kind of build myself up and get better. So now I feel like definitely a better fighter since my last UFC fight.
どういう部分を伸ばしていきましたか？
I kind of worked on a lot in that fight when my opponent was hurt. I kind of I did things that I know I could have adjusted to probably get the finish as opposed to what I actually did in the fight. So now I recognize that when my opponent's hurt in a certain way, I know now how to attack and kind of just what to do to try and get a finish out of that.
さあ今回対戦相手がですね、スダリオ選手なんですけれども、どんな印象でしょうか？
I feel like for as little experience as he has, I feel like he's fairly good. He's come a long way in a short amount of fights. It looks like he has some pretty decent power and speed, but I just don't see it being anywhere near the level of competition I fought. With all due respect to him, I just don't feel like he's quite at that level yet. But I'll never underestimate him. But so far in his short career, I'm impressed with what he's done and how far he's come.
どういう展開にしてどういうふうに仕留めたいというふうに考えてますか？
I feel like I do better when the fight turns into a slugfest. I feel like that's when I thrive, and more so now, I'm looking to prove a lot more to myself and to show that I still belong, at a high level. And I see this fight either. I feel like one of us is getting knocked out, and I can't really see it going to decision, especially because I really pride myself on getting a finish. And like I said, now I'm wanting to prove that to myself more than ever. So I feel like it's either he's getting knocked out or I'm getting knocked out. Someone's gonna get finished.
ファイターとしての目標を教えていただけますか。
I know I don't have too much left in my career with my age, but my goal now is just to finish as strong as I can. Whether it's however many fights I have left, I just want to go out on a good note and put on some exciting fights. And that's really my goal right now. And hopefully one day RIZIN would come up with a heavyweight title, and that would be another goal to get another title on my belt, under my belt.
では最後にですね、ファンの皆さんにメッセージをお願いします。
Yes, I'm really excited because I just feel deep down inside that this fight is going to be very exciting, and I'm going to put on a really good show. And I just feel like right now this is going to probably be the best I've been, and I feel like, just like I said, deep down in my gut, I feel like there's going to be a really good, exciting performance out of me, and I'm training as hard as I can and doing everything I can to go out there and do it come fight night on April 29th.
ありがとうございました。Thank you.
Thank you. ありがとう。
最後にtake a picture.
Oh, okay.
Please fight in pose.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. ロッキー・マルティネス選手、少年時代荒れてたということなんですけれども、意外でしたね。で13歳の時に軍人だったお母さんに呼ばれてグアムからアメリカに渡ったと。でそのアメリカではアメフトを中心にですね、いろんなスポーツをやっていて、そのアメフトの能力を上げるためにレスリングを始めたと。さらに友人に誘われて MMA を始めたと。AMC に入ったということなんですけれども、もしこれワシントンに行ってなかったら MMA ファイターじゃなかったのかな、どうなんでしょうかね。そう考えるとMMA ファイターとしての道というものがですね、運命として用意されていた選手だったのかなというふうに感じます。さらに、観客を楽しませるファイトをしたいという話をしていましたが、もうすでに、インタビュー中に私の頭の中にはですね、スダリオ選手とロッキー・マルティネス選手がもうドロドロに殴り合っているシーンというのがですね、浮かんできました。もう早くも楽しんでます。そういう意味では皆さんの期待に応えるファイターだと思いますし、これぞヘビー級という戦いを見事に体現するファイターでもあると思いますので、久しぶりのロッキー・マルティネスワールドをですね、皆さんRIZINランドマーク5で楽しみにしていただきたいと思います。鈴木芳彦のデプスインタビュー。今回はロッキー・マルティネス選手の人物像を深く掘り下げました。今後もRIZINに関係するファイターや関係者たちをこの番組でどんどん紹介していきますので、楽しみにしていてください。さて、2023年4月29日大好評ですね、代々木第一体育館で行われますRIZINランドマーク5ですが、チケット完売になっております。会場に来られないという方々はですね、ぜひペーパービューで全試合ライブで楽しんでいただきたいと思います。盛り上がること間違いなしのRIZINランドマーク5、一緒に楽しみましょう。